Today, I'm going to be doing my first pair of custom shoes. Custom style I really like is the coffee dye. I think I saw Jake Polino do it. And that's kind of the idea for this shoe. We're going to do a coffee dye base layer, and then we're going to do kind of cream and brown accents on the top of the shoe. My first step with these shoes are going to be acetoning. I'm going to take the laces, and I'm actually not going to dye the laces. I'm just going to keep the laces white. I've just got a cotton bud, and I'm just going to go around the edges of the leather to get into the crevices. Now I'm just taking some kitchen roll or paper towel. Now I'm just doing the whole rest of it. Just making sure to get off that finish. The acetoning was a super important step for the dyeing, and I think the difference is when you're acetoning to paint and to dye, it's slightly different, and you have to be a bit more careful to get that kind of very even coat for the dye. Whereas when you're painting, because you're just painting over it, you can be a bit more like loose with it and get away with kind of making a bit more of an acetone error. It went still pretty good overall, but there are definitely some bits where it's not quite as even as I'd like it, and that's definitely something I'd like to improve on next time. This shoe's got the finish taken off, and you can't, I don't think, probably see it on camera, but it's got a little bit of like a different kind of sheen to it once you've taken off the finish. So for the dyeing process, I used 1 kilogram of coffee to about 3 liters of water. I got it to the point where it was almost boiling, where it was starting to steam, but it wasn't fully boiling. I put the shoes in, laid them down with a brick, and left them for 2 hours. And then I kind of came back and looked at any points where I'd missed the acetone, did a little bit of fixing on that, and then left them for another 2 hours. This is the result of them after they dye. They got that lovely coffee colour. I'm going to do a bit of the painting now. I think I'm going to start with the bit I know I definitely want to do, and then maybe continue from there. When painting, I was using two brushes. I had a small flat brush, which I was using to apply most of it, but some of the little details and kind of bits were hard to get into. So then I was using a really small fine tip brush to get into the kind of crevices of it, and also to do the finer detail points. I also used the fine tip brush to mark around the Nike Air bit because I knew I wanted to have that as a contrasting colour. So I was just using the fine tip to really get in there and very close to the sock liner. When I was painting, I was doing it one stage at a time. So I was doing each bit, heat drying it, and then moving on to the next bit. And for the brown paint, I did 4 coats. I didn't have to do any undercoats because it was going from like a lighter brown to a darker brown, so it wasn't really a problem. So after finishing painting the tick and the back tab, I was then kind of thinking about where I wanted to move next. And I thought adding white onto it or cream was going to be too much and you'd lose kind of the coffee dye. I then decided to also paint the toe box brown, and then where I hadn't rinsed out the coffee properly, it left the sock liner and kind of the tabs looking a little bit dirty. So I thought I'd repaint those white to give the final product that really clean looking finish. I then moved on and did the finishing because I had to do the painted areas finish. So I put a matte acrylic finish on them, but then I also did it on the dyed areas, which I didn't have to do. But I think giving the shoe the kind of homogenized, clean, like same finish makes the final product a bit better. After the touching up, this is the final product I have. I'm really happy with the way they turned out. Of course, it didn't go 100% to plan, but that's kind of part of the learning process. But I'm still super happy with the way they turned out. If you want to follow along with my fashion journey, press like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.